I'm Victoria Pucci Schaefer, and I did my project on my grandfather, Ronald Pucci. My project shows that my grandfather was brave because he defied all odds and started a business out of nothing. What made you decide you wanted to be in business for yourself?
I wanted to pursue a career with an opportunity. I wasn't satisfied with working in the steel mill. When I got out of high school, I didn't have any formal education. So one of the few jobs that I started at was working in a steel mill, and I couldn't see any future in it. So I was looking for a way that I could further myself, and I found that if I went into business, that I could do that.
What are some of the obstacles you had to encounter?
Probably the biggest obstacle was financing. When you start a business, you have to have enough money to handle the good and the bad. What I mean by that is, if you make a sale for $500, that $500 is not yours. A small percentage of it goes to you, and the rest goes into paying the bills. Because you have to make sure that when the times are slow, that you can, survive. Now, when I was looking at it, I needed a location that was downtown or someplace where I could be visible, because if you get in a place that's not visible, you can't, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money on advertising. And then the third thing was, I needed a product that would sell in our area. And I got into the carpet and furniture business, first into the carpet business, because everybody wanted carpet because it was warm, soft, fuzzy. Then I had to look around and see for competition, because if you had big competition, then of course a small guy could never make it. We were able to compete with the existing competition that we had.
What were some of your goals?
Well, the first and most important goal was to make a living. You have to be able to make a living in this area or any area. And of course, you've got to provide for your family. Providing, a decent living and having enough money to do what you want to do is one of the major things.
How did you achieve them, your goals?
Well, by actually working very hard. I used to have to work at the steel mill from 12 at night till 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I'd go home, take a shower, get up and open up at 9:30, and then work until 5. And then on the weekends, I used to have to work a little bit longer because we were open until 8, 9 o'clock. But I would have to say that you have to be able to really want to make it, otherwise you're not going to.
What was one of the scariest things you had to deal with?
I would have to say, out of my 40 years, when the interest rates went up to 20% or better, that was scary. Because if you have to borrow money at 20%, then it's very hard to show a profit. You worry about what's going to happen if you don't make it in business when you're in business. I had 2 kids. I have a wife. I was trying to support them, plus keep enough money to buy new inventory and expand the business. So it was quite difficult.
What are some words of advice that you would give to people?
I would have to say that probably, if I was to start all over again, I would probably take as many business courses as I could possibly take in high school. Now, I wasn't able to go to college. My family didn't have the money to go to college. And if you are lucky enough to go to college, then again, if you kind of know you want to get into business, then of course take as many business courses. Now, another thing is, when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of money, so I went to work for different people. I worked in a greenhouse, I worked in a grocery store, I worked as a dishwasher, I worked on the thruway doing blacktop, And so when you go out and you're looking at all these different jobs, try to find out what, you think you want to do. And one of my big things was I love to be around people and talk with them. And, everybody who comes into the store, I love to be like a little kidder with her, tell a joke, and then when you see them on the street, they remind you or they laugh. I like all that camaraderie that goes on with that.
What is your favorite part of running your own business?
I would have to say that my favorite part of running my own business is actually just the people themselves. Because when I go in, I love to be with the people myself.
If you could change one thing, what would it be?
I would have to say that if I had to change one thing, I would have been more prepared for business. I would have tried to, like I told you in that other question, I would have tried to take more business courses and be more prepared, because I really wasn't prepared for what came, but I was very lucky to be able to make it.
Looking back, do you think it was a good or bad decision?
Well, of course I think it's a good decision, because I did very well. I could have stayed at the steel mill, and I probably could have done well, because I started at a young age, but that just wasn't for me. I knew there was something else for me, and when I got into this type of business, being with the public, it didn't even have to be carpet or furniture. I think it could have been just about any type of business that I would have went into. I love being around the people.